Gibbs reflective cycles. Why critical reflection matters? Reflection is a metacognitive process that occurs before, during, and after situations with the purpose of developing greater understanding of both the self and situations, so that the future encounters with the situations are informed from previous encounters. The word reflection is widely used in a variety of different contexts, from physics to education, but the meaning is all remain true to its Latin origins, to bend or to turn back. This is one of the adult learning skills that is needed in the 21st century skills. Basically, reflection is looking at yourself in the mirror. Deeper learning about your action in a certain situation and understanding its outcome has a larger magnitude in your self-improvement and lifelong learning rather than just aiming for certain skills or knowledge. Critical reflections forms the basis of adult learning, which means you will need it for your personal and professional growth. There are many ways to do reflection. One of them that we will discuss right now is the Gibbs reflective cycles. The Gibbs reflective cycle consists of 6 interdependent steps to help us focus on what is really important in the reflection process. Step 1 is the description. Step 2 is the emotion. Step 3, evaluation. Step 4, analysis. Step 5, conclusion. Step 6 is actual plan. Now, we will discuss each step a little further. Step 1, description. The question to guide you in step 1 is, what happened? In this step, you describe your experience from an event or situation where your personal or professional belief is being challenged. However, you are going through a lot. How do you know which one should be critically reflected? This is how to find what event to be critically reflected. First, mindful monitoring. Regularly making notes of your thoughts and emotions, whether it is in text, voice, or videos. You imagine yourself making a vlog or journal for yourself. You can also find it from others' feedback. Friends tell you when your face is dirty. Ask them what needs to be improved from you, and you will find what things is to be critically reflected. The other way to find is to recognize the critical incidents. When things don't go according to your plan, or an event that leaves you with strong emotions, good or bad, that is a cue for you to do a critical reflection. Tips for step number 1. Describe the experience accurately in details, giving it to your trusted friend. Now, we are going to step 2, emotion. The question to guide you in step 2 is, how did it make you feel? In this step, you need to identify and recognize the emotion you felt related to the experience. You can use keywords like happy, liberated, wholesome, peaceful, content, proud, love, enlightened, or cheerful to describe your positive emotion. Or you can also use the word like sad, angry, desperate, helpless, depressed, anxious, indifferent, numb, etc. to describe your negative feelings. Tips for step number 2. Be specific about your emotion. Narrow it down using the closest adjective. We are going to discuss step 3, evaluation. The guiding question for this step is, what is good and bad about the experience? In this step, you need to find the meaning and the lessons in the events or situations that you are describing. Describe what went well and what is not. For example, if you are late to a meeting, then you can describe what went well, what did you endure, and what did you overcome. Tips for step number 3. Try to draw a silver lining in bad moments and look for the pitfall in success story. Find both sides and embrace them in your reflection. It does not have always be a negative experience, but it can also be a positive event. Okay, step 4, analysis. The guiding question for this step is, what can you learn from the event? You can ask questions like, what information or skill am I lacking on how to address this problem? Do I know how to improve it? If I do not know, who can I ask for it? Or other questions like, what is the underlying reason why the identified issue was not resolved? What was my problem in resolving the problem? Tips for step number 4. Seek for reasoning or explanation behind the why question. You can also identify other circumstances that cause a similar feeling or outcome with the situation you are reflecting, and try to explain the cause on that circumstances. Okay, step 5. The guiding question for this step is, could you have done things differently? The answer should only yes or no. Whatever your answer is, this part contains the important message you want to convey to yourself and others. Ponder upon your experience and think, which part will bring you a better result? Tips for step number 5. Even when you think the answer to the question, could you have done differently, is no, there are always alternatives of how you could have responded differently in the event for better outcome. List the alternatives. At the heart of reflection is the challenge and subsequent change in perspective that can inform future action. The last step in 6-step Gibbs reflective cycle is the actual plan. After identifying the problems, how we felt about it, and what can we learn from those circumstances, now we are going to develop an actual plan on how we can solve the problem or improve the outcomes. The guiding question for this step is, if it happens again, what will you do? This part will require you to concretely identify your learning needs and developing a plan to meet those needs. Tips for step 6. Make it SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Now that we have learned all the 6 steps of Gibbs reflective cycles, it is time for you to practice. You can watch the video once again. You can also read the manual book, and also you can ask directly to your facilitators if you feel they are still unclear or there is still burning questions about reflection. Happy learning!